All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where the clock is ticking, and hopefully very soon we will find out what Errol Spence Jr. is going to do as far as rematching Terrence Crawford. That should be known I suppose, within the next few days if what people are rumoring is true. However, in this video, we're going to talk about some ideas that have been floating around about what the best move for Errol Spence Jr. actually is, and not just within the confines or just addressing what's best for him personally, but really what's best for the welterweight division, what's best for the 154-pound division, and the fans involved. Now, let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where Errol Spence Jr. is expected within the next week or so to make up his mind, or at least formally announce his decision about whether or not he is going to rematch Terrence Crawford or not. As we know, Terrence Crawford beat Errol Spence Jr. in a one-sided fight on July 29th. And since that point in time, there's been a lot of people talking about whether or not Errol Spence should even take the rematch. There is no question about whether or not Errol Spence Jr. gets the rematch or not. That's up to him. And also just monetarily, there's nothing else out there really for Terrence Crawford right now to do that really, that is what he actually wants to do. Now, there's some things he can do, but he's out of his mouth, he's saying he don't want to do them. And that obviously to me is the Jaron Ennis fight if he doesn't fight Errol Spence Jr. Because, hey man, call me a hater, but he's the undisputed welterweight champion. So I want to see him fight the top welterweights. If he doesn't, drop the belts and move up. However, seeing as he more than likely is going to drop the belts and move up, what does that mean for Errol Spence, and really what would be the best move? Not necessarily for Errol, because I know what Errol's best move is. Because look, man, it's all about that. It's all about that guapo. Is it called guapo? It's all about that guap. It's all about the money, man. So if he can get $10, $15 million to fight Terrence Crawford again, and he can go out there and get it done, more than likely he's going to get it done. I think I have an idea what his mentality is. Very similar to Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder did not care what happened in that second fight with Tyson Fury. He was going to go back in there and he was going to get back in that ring and he was going to do it all over again. And that is one of the things that I really respect about Errol Spence Jr. is his willingness to get back in there. However, there is an idea out there that's not the best way to proceed for Errol Spence Jr. and that the best way to proceed very well may be taking another fight in between. He is not going to be at 147 pounds. So, and you need to fight somebody if you're going to get ready for Terrence Crawford. I think he needs to fight somebody that if he's going to do that, right? Then he's talking about more of a long money game. And I think it could be, and this has been suggested to me, and I thought, yes, that's not a bad idea, is that there's another fighter that is kind of coming off of some trouble and some inactivity that may be a great fight for him, and that is Virgil Ortiz, who also is from the Dallas area, the Dallas, Texas area. He fights with Golden Boy Promotions. However, if that Golden Boy promotion bridge can be crossed, you find yourself in a situation where you can have a really big fight in Texas, where you have a good chance of being able to sell out that AT&T Stadium with the two of those fighters. And that fight being a local Texas fight could really be a big deal. And it's a very winnable fight for Errol Spence Jr. Both of those guys are really kind of in the same, I think they're a little bit in the same situation, even though Virgil Ortiz has not lost a fight yet. He still has had this just reoccurring issue that has come up with with his blood. I don't know how to pronounce the particular the word associated with what's going on with his in his body, but basically it's kind of like his blood it's like it's feeding on his muscles, like his body is feeding on his muscles. People think it has something to do with the fact that he keeps cutting weight and staying and really can't make 147 pounds anymore. So, he winds up being that situation for him. My understanding is that actually it was such a bad situation last time going into the fight with Stanionis, Amanda Stanionis, that he actually somebody had to perform CPR on him. But if he can fight, that may be a very, very good fight to get Errol Spence Jr.'s body adjusted to the division, to the welterweight division. To the 154-pound division. Some people say, well, he needs to fight a southpaw, and that very well may be true as well. I'm not saying that would not necessarily be the case, but I don't know how many really good southpaws there are in the 150-pound division that aren't really dangerous. Obviously, there's Erickson Lubin is could be an opportunity to fight somebody that is a southpaw to prepare for the Terrence Crawford rematch. But I just think that the most important thing for Errol, and I said this going into the fight with Terrence Crawford, is if he's going to fight, would love to see him just be active, because I do believe that you learn in situations, especially even situations that you would call a tune-up. And so people get on me, or they get on me, complain that they say I don't criticize Errol Spence Jr. enough. I don't really see a lot to criticize about him. And from a fan's perspective, he's doing what a fan should want a fighter to do. Take the hardest fights, the toughest fight every time that he's out, and go out of his way to really make the fight that fight fans want to see. And that's what Errol Spence Jr. has been doing for years. Now, after he's coming off of a loss, though, I don't think that it's unreasonable to say that he could follow in the footsteps of somebody like Lennox Lewis, where Lennox Lewis lost to Oliver McCall, and he didn't immediately jump right back in the ring with Oliver McCall. He waited some time, had a few fights, then he got back and fought Oliver McCall, right? Same thing happened with Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. Muhammad Ali did not rematch Joe Frazier right away. It took a little bit of time for him to get back to Joe Frazier. Had several other fights in between, tougher fights. But as he got those tough fights, like the Ken Norton fight, he wound up getting himself into, a lot where he was sharper and he was better prepared and made more adjustments to the next time he fought Joe Frazier. Now, Joe Frazier obviously had gotten knocked out by George Foreman in between those two fights, but it is what it is. You never know what can happen with Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford may get in there with somebody and it could wind up not going pretty for Terrence Crawford. You'd be surprised how age works and how time works. But anyway it goes, I'm going to support the fight no matter what Errol wants to do, whether it is going to fight Terrence Crawford, because I understand that, again, I understand that aspect of it. The monetary aspect of it for Terrence Crawford is for Errol Spence Jr. is heavily in favor of him taking the Terrence Crawford fight, especially if he feels like at 154 that his body is going to be more fresh, that he's not going to have the balance issues and the other things that were going on, which I think undeniably were going on. And that's the one thing, I think that is the one thing that should be, that makes, puts a question mark in the rematch between the two of them. I don't think anybody is going to favor Errol. Very few people, not going to say anybody, are going to favor Errol over Terrence Crawford in the rematch. However, it could definitely be a significantly different story if Errol is like physically strong and doesn't look like his balance is all over the place. But it would be good, I do think. And to the people that said, "Oh, I've told you this before, and you didn't want to hear it before." If you tell me that at the day after the fight, and I'm talking about what's going on in the fight, man, I'm not trying to hear all of this. Errol needs to retire. Errol needs to do this, do that type of stuff. But it's been a while after the fight, and you see more options kind of coming up. I'm okay with whatever Errol Spence Jr. wants to do, but I don't think that Virgil Ortiz or a Erickson Lubin fight, if you're insisting on a southpaw, is a bad thing at all. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.